Thank you. Senator Barrasso.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Nuland, over the years I've traveled to Ukraine numerous times. The 8 members of the Senate, a number of members of this very committee, were in Ukraine when Russia invaded Ukraine and annexed the Crimea in 2014. On another trip, traveled with Senator McCain and Senator Cotton. We went to eastern Ukraine, met with courageous men and women fighting for their country's freedom and their future. I mentioned this to you last night because every day they battle along the front lines against separatist forces, and more than 14,000 Ukrainians have already died in fighting in that eastern region. So I know firsthand the heart and the courage and determination of these freedom fighters. And Ukrainian armed forces fight bravely, they fight fiercely, they don't back down. Ukrainians are absolutely willing to die for their homeland. So if Vladimir Putin thinks that he invades and it's going to be easy, it is not. I will tell you, I believe much Russian blood will be spilled and there will be Russians going home in body bags if he invades this country. The United States and our allies, I believe, must do more to deter Russia by increasing the costs of aggression. And I'm always looking for ways to do that. I think we need enduring strategic response from the U.S., from Europe, and from NATO. So I'm looking in terms of how we can respond to put Putin's bold and dangerous behavior away, because the repercussions go far beyond Ukraine, and we need to make sure we don't fail this test. When I talked to President Zelensky in September of this year, he said they needed anti-tank missiles, anti-aircraft missiles, better radar, and that's in that location. I'm asking what you believe President Putin's ultimate objective is and how we need to stay ahead of his efforts.
Again, I work hard to stay out of the inside of President Putin's brain. That said, he's been pretty clear about his regret at the fall of the Soviet Union, at his regret that Ukraine and Russia are no longer one country, and about his skepticism with regard to Ukraine's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and independence. And I think that's what's motivating here, is that he may be trying to leave as his legacy the reconstitution of something that was rejected by the people of the lands that he is moving on.
You've been an observer for a long time. I remember discussing with you Bob Strauss's book that while he was there as ambassador for President Reagan, that you were there as a young staff member in Moscow at the U.S. Embassy in Russia. So you've been studying this a long time. You know how Putin uses energy as a weapon. I think earlier today you said energy is the cash cow that funds these military deployments. And with high oil prices now $80 a barrel, if not going higher, I think his budget is based on 40, from what I've been following over the years of my time in the Senate. That is putting a lot of money and giving him firepower that he might not have had in previous times. So I want to ask about how the way he uses energy as a geopolitical weapon, because in July, President Biden and German Chancellor, then Chancellor Merkel, agreed to reimpose sanctions if President Putin used gas as a geopolitical weapon. Since then, the world has watched Russia use natural gas to coerce and to manipulate countries all around Europe, severely limited the flow of gas through Ukraine, no longer delivers gas to Hungary through Ukraine due to a side agreement where they can bypass it. Moldova has declared a state of emergency due to Russia threatening to cut off gas, and they only avoided a crisis by agreeing to a longer-term contract. You have, as physical construction of Nord Stream 2 nears completion, Putin reduced gas production and deliveries to dramatically increase prices. The spot prices soared. Where do you see the Biden-Merkel promised sanctions against Putin for using gas as a weapon?
So I think you're referring to the July agreement between the U.S. and Germany, which sought to address the stress on Ukraine that the Nord Stream 2 pipeline was putting into effect. And so that agreement speaks to a number of things. First of all, helping the Ukrainians themselves wean themselves off of dependence on Russian energy and make a green transition, but also a commitment that if Ukraine faced aggression and pressure of a significant kind from Russia in the energy field, that it would have a direct impact on Nord Stream 2. So, I think reiterating that commitment and hearing the new German government reiterate those commitments will be very important, and that's something that we're seeking in this context.
I would just add finally that, I just have concerns if we don't abide by a Biden-Merkel agreement, which we send to Putin, that shows if we don't keep our word, then it makes you wonder what threats of additional sanctions we'll have on Putin in that situation.
I agree with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.